Hey hustlers, hope you're enjoying your summer. Hopefully you're not cooking yourself like a human slice of bacon like I am right now. So, I actually have some pretty exciting news. In case you can't already tell from this t-shirt I'm wearing, it says Valor Fitness. Long story short, I'm gonna try to give a backstory as fast as I can, not trying to pull a Dr. Doofenshmirtz on this.
It's your emotionally scarring backstory. I had to work as a lawn gnome. I was forced to wear hand-me-up girls' clothing. Neither of my parents showed up for my birth.
But let me get to the point. So, when I first started college, I became a sponsored athlete for this special brand known as Valor Fitness. And the reason why is because I wanted to promote my tactical fitness content, also promoting a brand that provides this special equipment and the gear that I need to fuel my training. Here's one of the perks that comes with being a sponsored athlete. It's that they send you free stuff. FYI, I used to have a really cool pocket knife I got for my 18th birthday, but then I lost it, so now I have to use this dinky little utility knife that was in my dad's toolbox. I think I'm gonna save the sticker that's on this because this thing right here, this looks absolutely amazing. Like, look at this. Look at that. And plus, that's some pretty nostalgic memories right here because it's my first time opening a care package. Oh man. Oh man. You gotta see this. Like, I honestly was expecting something more smaller scale, like probably like some t-shirts and stuff, but like, bro, look at this. Look at all that. We literally have an insulated bottle. These things literally cost anywhere from 30 to 40 bucks online or in a Whole Foods, and that's 25 ounces. Very cool. Resistance bands. These are gonna be awesome because I'm gonna use these for doing my assisted muscle up training. I've been meaning to get into that. Nice black t-shirt right here. Actually, I don't know if that's too close. Let me see. Nice t-shirt right here. Another resistance band. And then this was the exact thing I asked for them. This is a very new item. This is one of their men's sweatshirts. This is gonna look absolutely epic when I'm doing my front squats and my deadlifts because it's gonna promote that big Valor logo. So this is what you get in the package. I'm kind of back up so you get the full view. We got the sweatshirt, men's hoodie, and I just realized this actually has this really nice shiny pattern. Let me see if I can focus on that. It's actually really nice, the insulated bottle, because those very seldom do you get free insulated bottles. Can you get your hands on that? This is some of the gear that they sent me. These are their resistance bands. These right here, so people can probably use these like to warm up their rotator cuffs before they do their compound exercises. What I plan on using these for is specifically for a lot of my assisted calisthenics progressions. So like, let's say if I'm trying to strengthen my ability to do a muscle up or a planche or whatever, or probably even like the pommel horse. Yeah, this is gonna help me a lot. So now that you've seen all the cool gear that I got from Valor Fitness, let me explain how I got involved in the brand ambassadorship in the first place. When I was sophomore in college, that's when I first announced that I got sponsored by Valor Fitness because I was applying to multiple brands at the time, and that was a really cool opportunity for me to get to promote their equipment on social media and also get to like kind of enhance my image with social media content and my face in the physical fitness community. In addition, this is just from my personal perspective, a lot of Valor Fitness's equipment is actually geared towards promoting cross-training and functional fitness. CrossFit, martial arts, stuff like that. A lot of brands out there really don't focus on those specific forms of training. That's predominantly what mine is. I mean, if you go on like other famous supplements out there, they're mostly marketed towards like bodybuilding, strongman, strength training, all the other good, like really well-known stuff. When it comes to finding brands that offer premium equipment, cross-functional training, CrossFit, martial arts, and stuff like that, it can be very difficult to find competitive brands out there. Valor Fitness basically came to the rescue in that, hence why I think they deserve the name Valor.
Kill the prisoner!
should've told me, 'cause I feel like
Hands behind you right now. Hands behind you right now.
just give it to me straight, 'cause I'm running out of time. I need an antidote now, one to prescribe. It's like an avalanche. I feel myself go under, 'cause the weight of it's like hands around my neck. I never stood a chance. My heart is frozen over, and I feel like I am treading on thin ice, and I'm going under. I need a cure for me, 'cause the square doesn't fit the circle. Give me a remedy.
Hey Hustlers, hope you've been enjoying your week so far. So what I'm basically doing at this point is I actually have decided I'm going to start assembling my own IFAK. Those of you who don't know what an IFAK is, it stands for Individual First Aid Kit. And basically what that is that in order to enhance my first responder training, particularly in emergency medical service, I want to get a feel for all the medications and the trauma equipment that first responders would use. I want to be able to know how to do it, not just when I'm on the clock for when I begin that career one day, particularly for where, let's say, it's on an everyday mundane situation where I'm off the clock. That's why it's called an IFAK rather than a EMS double bag full of medications, you know what I'm saying? So, right here, this is what it looks like. I paid like 20 bucks for it. Let's open it up. Okay, so as you can see right here, this is pretty much what it looks like. This ranges from light medications to light trauma equipment that we can use. So technically, I do need to clarify something. This is not for prescribed medications. This is only for over-the-counter medications and also for over-the-counter trauma equipment where basically you would not have to call 911, or more specifically, you could administer this to a patient that needs it and you could do it before you call 911. So let's start with right up what we see. So this right here is just a bottle of water. I keep this because ideally, if let's say someone were to fall unconscious and you basically go through OPQRST, and let's say you find out that they fell unconscious because they didn't get any sleep at all the night before, and they didn't eat anything the night before, and their temperature was kind of whack, like they're too hot, they're too cold, but particularly they're too cold. What could happen is they could go slip into what's known as hypoxia, where basically that's a form of shock where your heartbeat, your pulse is high, but your blood pressure is low, and also your overall energy and your glucose levels are low. So the fastest way you can do that is you could basically take some electrolyte mix, make sure there's sugar included because that's the glucose. In this case, this is the liquid IV, non-sugar-free lemon lime flavored. What you could do is you can dump this in the water, shake it up, and then once the patient drinks that would be a very fast, straightforward way to raise their blood sugar. The reason why I say this is because I've seen this in person before, even at church. And when my mom was a kid, she actually saw it in high school with a girl who was going to class, and someone yelled, "Get them orange juice, get them orange juice." So you get the idea right there. Let's see what we can do next. Right here, this is my personal favorite. Well, not favorite, but just more so what I'm most excited to see. This right here is Narcan. That's the brand name of this right here. Basically what Narcan is that it's naloxone. So in case the patient ever is experiencing signs of opioid overdose, then what you could do is you could bust this open and you could basically spray this into one of their nostrils. So I know what you're thinking, but Seth, for an opioid overdose, that's for someone who like overdosed on heroin or something super serious. Yes, that's one thing, but a more closer to home example could be, let's say you have an elderly relative, and let's say this relative takes a lot of painkillers, a lot of pills, a lot of prescription medication. Now, statistics actually confirm this, that it's common for when elderly people take so many medications, especially all at once, that they could fall unconscious. So what you can do to reverse that effect is you could use this stuff right here. And it technically is short acting, but it's literally the difference between life and death. So that's why I recommend having one of this stuff on you. And it's actually ironic because, like I said, you don't need a prescription to have naloxone or Narcan. You literally just have to have a patient that needs it. Keep in mind, the indicators that show a person needs to have naloxone for an opioid overdose here are some stuff. One, if they have pinpoint pupils, that's one of the most important signs right there once you're going through sample and OPQRST. Also, also are they unconscious? Are they not, and are they breathing? And also, do they have a pulse? If they're not breathing, if they're unconscious, and they have pinpoint pupils, but they do have a pulse, then you can use this stuff right here. Once you use it, immediately call 911. And then another thing you can do is, a lot of my friends like to go hiking, and let's say they go hiking where there's a ton of bugs and it's hot out, and let's say a bug bites you, you could use this ointment stuff right here. This is basically for all bug bites. And I should clarify, all the stuff that I have in this eye pack right here is short acting, which basically means that this isn't supposed to be where you just walk away. You definitely could do that if you're in that situation, but it's basically for, you can administer any sort of treatment before EMS arrives. It is very much a possibility for, if you call 911 and you just wait for help to come, the person could still die. Believe it or not, one example of that was actually the famous rapper Lil Wayne, where he accidentally shot himself in the chest when he was 12 years old, but a cop saved him, not because the cop saved 911, but because the cop personally picked him up, put them in the back of their squad car, and drove him to the hospital.
At the age of 12 years old, I shot myself. Police knocked on the door. I was right there. It took one guy to stop right there and cuss everybody that hopped over me out. Like, what the f*** are y'all doing? They say, oh, no. We called the ambulance. A ambulance? Do you not see this kid on the floor with this hole in his chest? Say, you drive. Pick me up. Brought me to the hospital. He didn't drop me off at the ambulance and say, you take him. He brought me to the hospital room and made two and stood there and waited till the doctor said he's gonna make it. He said, don't worry, my name's Uncle Bob. He was white as snow. Them that hopped over me was blacker than me. Yeah, he was a cop, and my life was saved by a white man. I don't know what racism is. I know a good name Uncle Bob, though.
So that set the tone for this. And right here, this is a finger splint. So a couple weeks ago, my grandfather unfortunately got into a car accident, and what happened was it busted up his finger pretty bad. So I bought one of these at Walmart, and I was able to keep his finger straight. Because the reason why you want to splint your finger if it's out of shape is because if you use like a Band-Aid or some cloth or something like that, what will happen is your body will over time heal the finger, but in an abnormal pattern, and it's very difficult to reverse that process. So this will keep your finger straight. It'll allow it to heal the correct way. I also have a smaller one right here for your pinky or your thumb. This is a bag that I keep right here specifically for atopic stuff. Like for, I don't know if the word is atopic, I basically just mean for over the skin. So let's say epidermal stuff. So right here, we got some dude wipes, where basically if your patient is sweating like crazy, this can help wipe them off. I do recommend getting some gloves before you do that, but this will help with the sweat. And then this right here are some more general antibacterial wipes that I got from Walmart. These are for if, let's say, you're doing CPR on a patient and you need to clean the mask, then you can use this stuff right here. And then this stuff actually surprised me. So this goes back to the whole hiking thing. General Aquaphor and General Pyroplasm Jelly, I probably scorpion the pronunciation on that. Basically, for this stuff right here, this could be so that in case if, like it quite literally says, if you're out in the wilderness and you're out by poison ivy and nearest help is like miles away, you have this stuff that should be able to provide some treatment. My dad unfortunately got exposed to that when I was 6 years old because he was hanging a swing up our tree in our backyard. And it would have been nice to have that stuff for him, even if I was 6 years old. But here's what I actually had in mind with this stuff. I bought these steri strips, and basically what steri strips can be used for is, this is a little personal story that my boss at work told me. He said that while he was fishing with one of his buddies, they were using a big giant steak knife to cut the fish open so they can cook it and everything. And what happened was he accidentally sliced his hand, like big time. Like it wasn't gushing, but it was pretty ugly. So what he did was he busted open these steri strips and he had one of his friends basically squeeze it together. So that way, as he's putting multiple steri strips all over the hand, it's almost like he's doing a portable form of stitching before they get him to an emergency room or to a urgent care. And what he would do is, after he put on the steri strips, he would wrap some gauze around the hand, and then If it was exclusively to the hand, he would put on this special wrap. Let me show you what this looks like once you put it on. So after he would put on the gauze and after he would put on the steri strips, he would put this special mobile hand splint on it. So that way you can still use your fingers, but your hand is still treated before you go to the urgent care or the hospital. The camera is going absolutely nuts. I'm no longer going to be filming my vlogs on my GoPro Hero 9. I'm now going to be using the Canon EOS Rebel T5i. The difference is that whenever I'm at the gym, I'm normally using what's known as a 50 to 135mm lens. This right here that's going absolutely ballistic like a child born with ADHD is a 18 to 55mm lens, and it's driving me nuts. But yeah, so long story short, I just wanted to make a quick service and announcement about my channel. I am no longer a volunteer firefighter. Last year or so, I've honestly wanted to pursue something different, and I can't be super specific about what that is, but the reason why I'm saying this is just take away all confusion and say going forward, I'm no longer making firefighting content, and I'm going to be making content geared towards my suit in public safety. But I just want to be transparent, so enjoy the rest of your day.
We stand up, we rise up to give our lives what's there for you. Saving you, standing up, present to this dying world. We need it to breathe it, so come and release your fire again.
So this one's actually pretty nice because it's got like a little belt attachment right here. It even has some stuff inside. But I want something that's empty already so that way I can customize my own IFAK.
Oh, I don't know how well you can hear me because I'm recording this on my X3, which means I'm also going to have to manually download the footage, and then I'm going to have to make sure that it's exported onto my phone, and then re-export it to my computer, and then edit it all from there, so bear with me on that. But the bag is secured. Let's see what we got. I got this IFAK that I'm going to keep in my backpack. I feel like it's kind of a bad habit for me to rely on manually carrying my IFAK wherever I go, because that's just a lot more with my meal prep bag, my backpack, and this. So I'm going to keep this in my backpack and keep it as tightly packed as possible. I don't think I'm going to use any of the stuff that it comes with because that's mostly just for minor first aid. It's not for aspiring EMS first responders. I also got this small little pouch that I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to clip it onto my belt, so that way if I'm ever away from any sort of first responder in a remote area, like let's say if I'm in the rural parts of Pathfork, Kentucky, or just any other rural area, what I'm going to do is I'll have this little pouch right here that I'll be able to unzip, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep like some minor trauma stuff, like maybe some gauze, maybe one of those like rubber band tourniquets. I won't be able to fit a regular tourniquet, and I don't think I'm going to buy a regular tourniquet at some point because, I mean, if someone's actually bleeding out from massive hemorrhage, you may as well just call 911 from there. There's honestly no reason to try to do everything by yourself. But yeah, just any sort of like really small stuff that I can keep to make a positive difference, then that's why I have this stuff right here. Alright, now before I do this, I'm basically going through this where I don't have access to my ambulance, where basically I'm doing this off the clock, but I still have my little list of tools that I can use on a patient in this situation. See how I do? Okay, I've done my BSIs, the scene is safe, the scene is safe. I have a patient right here. Hello, sir, can you hear me? Patient is unresponsive. Okay, so what can I do from here? I can check to see the priorities. Does this patient require C-spine? I don't see any damage to the skeleton or to the neck right here. So no, I don't need C-spine. All right, and I'm also going to call 911 to make sure the ambulance is en route. However, this patient could be in such a critical condition that I could possibly do my typical assessment and provide patient care even while I'm waiting for the ambulance. Okay, so as I'm going through this, I'm checking my ABCs. Is my patient breathing? My patient is not breathing. Okay. I'm checking the airway. Is the airway potent? The air potent. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do the head tilt chin lift. Okay, so now the airway is potent. And then circulation. All right. How does this patient look? The patient looks like they're diaphoretic because they're sweating. The patient looks pale. The patient looks pale and cool. All right, and the patient is also unresponsive, so on the scale of AVPU, I'm going to give them a grade of U. All right, and then what here? What can I do? All right, can I go through OPQRST? The patient is unconscious and I don't know how they got here, but I can go through a sample history. So let's look for signs. I open this patient's pupils and I see that they're pinpoint, meaning they're incredibly small. I see that they aren't breathing. Their pulse, I see that they have a pulse of D2 beats per minute, though that's pretty low. And what else do I find? I find that their skin appears to be flushed. The thing I could do is I don't have access to an oxygen tank. I don't have my CPR kit, so I can't really give them any oxygen from here. But what I can do is, these are basically indicators that this patient is most likely on an opioid overdose because they aren't breathing, they're diaphoretic, and also they're unresponsive, and their pupils are pinpoint, and also they do have a pulse. So what I'm going to do for my interventions, this is an adult patient. I'm going to give them 0.4 milligrams of naloxone. The brand name in this case is Narcan. And the way I would administer this is, let's go through the 5 rights. So for the right patient, right here, right dosage, 0.4 milligrams or 1 spray of Narcan. Right route, it's going to be in their nostril. Doesn't matter if it's left or right, as long as it's in the nostril. All right, and then right expiration, and it's not expired. Right medication, Narcan. Okay, so what I would do is I would bust this open, put my fingers on like this. Let's spray it into the nostril. Okay, and what do I find? After about 2 minutes, the patient is now oriented. Hey sir, my name is Seth. I'm an EMT. I don't have access to my ambulance right now, but I called 911 and they're on the way. I gave you this medication right here so you can be oriented. Well, I guess that's what I would do in that situation if all I have access to is my IFAC right here, but I have the right patient that I could do in this case, and I also have some gloves. Okay. I done my BSIs. The scene's safe. The scene is safe. What I have right here is I have a 23-year-old patient, and basically what's going on is they just fell down on the floor, and they are oriented, but they just completely fainted. And so I meet them and I say, "Sir, can you hear me?" And they can hear me. All right. And then from there, what I would do is I would call for the ambulance. So I call 911 and explain the situation, but I administer a patient care that I can based on the scope of my practice with my IFAC. And then from here, what I would do is basically, I would check for any of the first indicators of what I could do for interventions. Does this patient require a collar? No, they don't, because there's no damage to their neck. And then what I can do from here is I'm going to go through the ABCs. Is the patient breathing okay? They are breathing, but they're having a difficult time. Basically, their breath is slow. So let's see what I can do. Checking what is their rate of their breathing. They're breathing at 26 breaths per minute. So they aren't hyperventilating, but their rate that they're going at is faster than usual, so they're having a little bit of a hard time. Okay, and then what else can I do from here? I'm checking the circulation. They don't have pale skin, but they have diaphoresis, which means they're sweating. So what I could do from that is I could take out my IFAC right here. And the first thing I can do is to help cool their body down with the sweating, I can take some wipes that can be used for sweating or diaphoresis, some dew wipes. I would open this up, wipe it off the patient's face, and then I would also double check the second time with the back of my gloved hand. Okay, so they aren't sweating anymore, so that's good. And then I'm gonna go through OPQRST onset. So sir, what were you doing to find yourself on the ground?
I ate no food for 7 days, and this is what happened to my body.
And then provocation. Do you feel your pain spreading anywhere?
Oh my god! It's everywhere!
And then quality. How would you describe the pain that you're feeling right now? Okay, and then severity. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate it?
You're a solid 6.
Okay, and then time. How long have you been feeling this pain?
An eternity in B6 time!
Okay, and then sample history. So for signs, what I see is I saw that they were sweating, but I immediately wiped that off. And then, sir, are you allergic to anything?
These nuts.
Okay, that's good. Are you currently on any medication?
What is drugs?
And past oral intake. Did you eat anything the night before?
I ate no food for 7 days.
Wow. Okay. Then do it. Past medical history.
Ketamine, cocaine.
I swapped those out by accident. And then events. What were you doing to lead to this?
I fell down the stairs.
So we were probably getting a little tired from the heat and everything. Okay. So now I can administer my interventions. So I did the wipes first because I knew I could get that done right away. And then what I could do from here is, based on the patient that I've seen, I've noticed that they are experiencing what's known as hypoglycemic apnea, which basically means that their blood sugar is low, their temperature is high, and also that they didn't have any food the night before, so their blood sugar is low. So what I can do to help sugar is I have some water and I have some electrolytes right here. This is the sugar-free liquid IV lemon lime flavored. I would pour that into this water right here, shake it up, and then I would have the patient drink it. And then as the patient drinks it, their blood sugar will most likely improve, okay? And also I would have checked their vital signs before I give them the intervention right here. And then if I did check their vital signs, normally I would do that if I had the equipment. Just let me clarify, I'm going through this as if I don't have my ambulance and I'm doing this off the clock. This is basically just first aid right here. This isn't even like full on EMS, okay? And then what do I find after giving them my interventions? Sweating as much, that's good. Blood sugar has improved, so they're more oriented. And the ambulance has arrived, and now I can give them a report of what I saw, and then I went from there.
Everything's better with Perry.